We're into our category 3-4 race. And riders, you will be receiving your instructions from your Chief USA Cycling referee, Chris Constantino.
Okay, guys, we'll be slightly delayed. Some of the juniors in the last race are racing this race and they need to be rolled out. But in the meantime, I'll give you a pre-race announcement. You are doing 45 minutes. We are going to determine the number of laps cross style. When we have the number of laps, it'll be above my head here on the left side of the course. Junior rollout for the juniors who are racing. Any additional juniors in this field? Okay, rollout is at the pit. If you don't report, you will be disqualified. There's no feeding. Never pass the pace car unless they wave you forward, but if they slow down, you slow down.
Gentlemen, on the whistle. Just like the prom, 1 foot down.
I'm going to take a look. Noel, who just won the last race, the junior race, he is slated for this race. And in this event, Noel, he'll be racing with, I'm going to be looking for bib number 346, Sam Noel. He raced last night with the category 3-4 riders, even though he's only 17 years old. The only disadvantage he has, what they do, they put him on junior gears, meaning they keep him on lower gears than the your 18 and over. So he's got to be a little bit of a disadvantage, but he's handled himself well on training rides, so he knows how to adjust for that.
These are the results from the race that just concluded. In 5th place, it was Kyle Mullally, 4th, Nick Kolazar, 3rd, Xander Jones, Kyle Kroll in 2nd, Sam Knoll, winner. Kids, we're getting ready for your race. Kids race.
Boy, a couple of those riders, Rich, what I'm looking for is Sam Noel. He raced with the 3s and 4s last night over there in Leominster, and he's slated to do it again here today. And we're going to see 346, I believe I said his number was going to be. Yeah, Sam Noel, 346. Let's see if he's in here with this group, riding with for Bobby Bailey's team, light blue jersey. Things are going off the front, lightening it up pretty quick.
Got a couple of the juniors went right out of their race, right into this race. And
Noel being one of them, Rich.
What you'll do is you'll line up, and you will line up, and sometimes I would do this as a master. You'll have 3 numbers, and you have them in order, and you're just tearing them off, lining up race after race. The most I've done was 3, but a lot of these kids doing 2.
That's what they used to do at the beginning of a bike race. As Rich mentioned, if you're going to ride in a couple of races, and all you do is just rip the number off, and you get another number right underneath it, and it saves a lot of time and effort from pinning individual numbers off. You just peel them off your back. And I think that's what Noel just did. Now there's a couple of other junior riders that I believe that are riding this race also. Kyle Kroll ended up in 2nd spot in back of Sam, and Xander Jones ended up in 3rd. Nick Colazar ended up in 4th. 5th place, Kyle Mullally, and a few of them out of that Connecticut advancement program.
But I got to tell you, I went over to the Say Cheese grilled cheese truck. I was hanging out with Terry. It is so good. What you've got in that grilled cheese truck, you've got a Filipino woman, her daughter, and her granddaughter, and then some other guy they just picked up on the way here who's just in there. He's working as hard as he can. But Terry does a great job with her grilled cheese truck. She created the truck. She built it. She's been running that. She's got her mom working for her, and she's got her niece in there working for her. It's a family affair, the grilled cheese. Thanks so much. We've got a couple of food trucks over there. Stop by and check them out. They're all fantastic. You can have your grilled cheese and eat it too right there in front of the Jumbotron in the shade.
John Hackett, one of the riders that are going up the road, and they've started some breaks already. And also with him is Christian Norvold. He hails from Berlin, Massachusetts.
You'll like Chris Norvold. You'll like this, Dick. He actually joined me at my request on Beacon Hill. We have a really big piece of legislation trying to improve how riders and conditions for bikes and law enforcement and the safe passing law. You don't know that we don't have that in Massachusetts. So Chris Norvold came and testified on Beacon Hill. He was brilliant. Great kid out there who's racing. He's only still a junior too. So great to have these kids not just thinking about their racing, but also thinking about making things better for all bike riders.
Boy, I'll tell you something. When you've got this skill to make a presentation in front of a group at Beacon Hill, you've got your act together.
And welcome back to the 2017 Longsjo Classic, the 56th annual show. And I am here with the wonderful Mayor Stephen DiNatale. And you're going to do a
thanks
lap.
once again. Boy, huh? When you look around this crowd right now, but does she dress things up or what? Because I'll tell you, with some of the FATV, volunteer crew, we love you, but boy, you guys are tough looking. You know what I mean? All right? But other than that, thank you. This is the place to be in the North County today, folks. Come to Fitchburg, see the pros race. This is top-notch international competition, and it's happening right here in the great city of Fitchburg. And there they go.
And Fitchburg has upped the game again this year with the Jumbotron and the bleachers up in the Upper Common. It's beautiful.
City's contributed our part. We do our part with the Jumbotron.
Absolutely.
Again, it's, we're, with FATV and things like the Jumbotron, it's the quality of the presentation is outstanding, and you guys have a lot to be proud of, and the city does.
It's an absolutely beautiful day to be out here for it.
It just couldn't be better. A lot of work goes into this. This is a year-long process. Don Injemy does an outstanding job. He's, in a former life, he probably would have been a bounty hunter. You know what I mean? He just doesn't let up. Tracks me down every other day. But he's great at what he does. We appreciate it and thank him for his efforts as well.
And it's nice to see the racetrack on the recently updated Main Street.
Yes, that's right. Yep. Well, we like that finish and start line being up there. That was a stroke of genius. I think it was last year.
Yep, it was last year.
And I think the credit goes to Chief Martineau that came up with that idea. And I think that was a game changer, as they say.
Absolutely.
So that's a great plus. It's a spectacular spot to have that start and finish line. So.
Absolutely. Now you're going to do a lap, or at least ride a little bit, right?
I think I'm doing a lap, yeah, and it's going to be for charity. I think people are going to be walking along. Nothing that's going to land me in the emergency room, I hope.
Have you been practicing?
Lieutenant Liberatore's here. He's smirking over there because he would probably have to be the one to respond to my, with the paddles.
Well, that's why we have the wonderful FPD and the fire department and everything that will help with any of those situations.
Stephanie, I was telling you, you guys really pulled out all the stops with these FATV crews here. What do you got, about 50 or 60 of them or what? Look at this. Every time I turn around, there's a yellow, what color shirt is that?
I'd say
yellow, whatever. FATV crew. They're all over the place, right? Everybody getting overtime, right? Is that what it is?
Oh, something like that.
Oh, all volunteer. That's right. I was kidding. Thank you for your service to the community. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Absolutely. Couldn't have done it without the crew we have.
Oh yeah, you got a lot of people out today. That's great. Yep.
All to bring the wonderful city of Fitchburg this amazing race.
Yes. I'm looking at the bikers going by. All right.
That'll be you next year,
And
right?
here comes Fitchburg's finest, coming up the theater block. Good stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I know you've got to get back up there.
Yeah,
and
they want
get
me
ready
up at
for
the
your-
stand, up at the, I don't know, they have something in store for me up there, but I think I'm supposed to be starting.
Starting here pretty soon.
Am
It's
I
either
supposed to
before
go?
or after the kids race. The kids
Yeah.
race is coming up after this one, though.
Okay, good. I hope the kids don't beat me. I mean, they probably will.
Thank you so much
Thanks,
for
Steph.
your time.
Thank you, it was great.
And we'll be right back with more from the 2017 Longsjo right after this.
Coming up into the start-finish line. Fastest lap of the day, right around 30 miles an hour.
And we are back at the 2017 Longsjo. It is a beautiful day and there is still plenty of time to get out here. The professional races are going to start at right around 1:30. We get the kids races coming up at 12:30. It's going to be an incredible afternoon. It's a beautiful day and you couldn't ask for a better turnout. The races are full. There's tons of bikes going right around the track right now. We've got our crew up at the finish line. Glenn is actually waiting to talk to Heather from Stride and Ride. And it's going to be a fantastic interview. Let's take a look at that now. No?
Ethan Vinegar, New England developing team. Out of Plymouth, New Hampshire. New England Devo.
Gentlemen, caution. Caution on the descent. There may be a rider down.
Also up there trying to get up with Nathan Coast, Swansea Velo Club, Bristol, Rhode Island.
You can ask them. I know we have a link.
One of the rider was trying to join them and he was just getting back, and that's Matt Schaefer, who did a terrific job riding for Best Buddies, a friend of Richard Freeze. He hails from Alston, Massachusetts. Matt Schaefer. We'll see if those three have joined forces.
Joining me now, Heather Viveros, kind of a fundraising operation going on here at the 56th Longsjo Classic here in Fitchburg. Upper Common filling with people now as we see the Tron, all of the food trucks up and going, and of course lunch right around the corner. Heather, great to see you today. Cadillac of Norwood is a big sponsor. Tell us about what you do.
So we're actually relaying on October 7th, 2017, 911 miles. It's called Stride and Ride Relay. As you said, Cadillac of Norwood is our biggest sponsor. We're raffling off a Escalade. You can learn more about that on the website. And we actually are starting at Boston Logan Airport. It's broken up into multiple stages where we incorporate cyclists, runners, ruckers, walkers, and motorcycles. And we relay from Boston Logan Airport to New York City, the Freedom Tower. From there we go to where Flight 93 went down, and then Washington, D.C. at the 9/11 Memorial in the Pentagon.
Of course, here in Fitchburg, we're celebrating Civic Days in the biggest way, and it is about remembering our veterans and remembering the folks who keep us free.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why we geared the Stride and Ride Relay to pay tribute to those lost on 9/11, as well as those that deployed on October 7, 2001. So we're actually very proud to be here, and we're honored to be out here in support of our veterans and our active duty military and their families.
And then the $60,000 question, why Longsjo today?
You know, I actually was asked to come down here. I'm a huge supporter for our veterans, our active duty, and remembering our Gold Star families and those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. And so to come down here, I was asked to get down and do 22 push-ups, which we're going to actually announce to the crowd and get people involved that we actually lose 22 veterans each and every day, plus one active duty military men and women due to the invisible wounds of war.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It is about supporting our veterans and celebrating Civic Days by your attendance here downtown in Fitchburg today for the Longsjo Classic. You're celebrating and supporting Heather and all of the folks who put this ahead. And now back to you.
And we are back here at the 2017 Longsjo. There is still plenty of time to come down and see all of us down here and watch the races. The men's 3-4 is going on now. Up next is the kids race, and then we're on to the pro series. Stay tuned for more for the races and enjoy everything on fatv.org.
Which he's riding. 340 there in front of him is going to be Mark Miller, Minuteman Road Club Landry's. You know, Dick Ring, talk a little bit about these great bike shops and these shop teams. How many great bike shops have we had? You know, you talk about that Landry's team, you talk about all the great mechanics and retailers that have just put together these great clubs.
Well, a lot of times, like Northeast Bike Club, and they were sponsored by a bike team, a bike shop, and what the bike shop owner realizes, he's dealing with a bunch of real nice guys that have come in over a few year period and bought equipment from him, and then he decides he'd like to get into this sport, and then they had their Saturday morning rides and really gets to know these riders and begins to realize aligning themselves with a bike club would be the thing to do. And that's what happened to the Northeast Bike Club. And of course, they aligned themselves with a great shop, and it's paid off, both for the shop and for the riders. So you've got yourself a sponsored team. They go out and represent you. You've got riders on that team that act like professionals when they come to a venue, and it just gives your shop an excellent name.
Well, and it's also important because, you know, bikes are getting more and more popular out there, and you got to think about how you behave on the roads. Normally, if you've got a club jersey on, those riders are well behaved. They stop at the lights. They are polite to pedestrians. At least you hope so. But what you'll see is a lot of these riders are out there. You don't want to have a name on your back associated with a rider that is really making a bad name for cyclists, because they're just going to look at your business and say, knock it off. I'm not going to that business ever again. So the clubs are really helping all of the sport, whether you're the charity rider, a racer, a trainer. Here we are right now. Riders on course. 17 minutes in, gentlemen.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Morse sitting at Colonial Bicycle Company, sitting right at the front of the field, and everybody's right on his wheel. They're moving along at a very, very good tempo. Category 3 riders, they served their apprenticeship as a Category 5, got up into the ranks, made it up into the Category 4, and it was nice today. You had a Category 3-4 event, for these riders. They have come up to a point where they're accomplished riders. You get into a category 3, and this is what all of these 4s are trying to do, get upgrade points so they can get in some better races. And it proves that you are really, really advancing in the sport of bicycle racing. Boy, this had been a very, very difficult field to get a breakaway going. I saw a couple of riders really putting in an effort, and then all of a sudden, the rest of the field, they just bring you back in a heartbeat. This is the kind of speed they have. When they decided to put the hammer down, they can bring you back. If they want to leave you hang out there and let you drop, just like playing a fish on the end of your line. You got one rider now, he's hoping that maybe 1 or 2 riders that get up with him and get something going. Nothing has worked so far.
That's what we call negative racing so far. Now we'll change this later on with the preems that come up, but we do have the Savage preem coming up in just a bit. But we've got 2 riders going clear right now, Dick Ring, and this might be the move. And they seem dedicated to making this one work.
They aren't out of sight, but at least they're going to be going up around the common.
That's the winner of our earlier race in the 4-5 race, Cale Wenzel, a Cat 4. Winner of the earlier race, this is Schaefer up near the front.
Boy, Schaefer has put in a good weekend. This is a nice spot on the course where the riders, they're going up this side and they can spot the riders on the other side and get an idea of what's going on. Ryan Singh riding for the Monster Media Butcher Box. Are those the ones that are putting up that special prize, Rich?
Oh yeah, and we're going to
box?
ring that bell soon for that prize. We'll let him race for a little bit more. We're approaching the halfway point. Good to see Lawrence Finnison here. Wrote a great book on the history of cycling. He's got a second book that he's working on sort of the Renaissance. That is, I think he's got quite a bit of time spent with Mr. Ring here. But the one on the turn of the century bike creams and all the great companies that were in the Boston area. I actually was on Newbury Street just the other day trying to find the building where the Boston Bicycle Club once housed. That was when they had real estate. That's how big cycling was. It was like the Microsoft and Google of the time, were these bike companies back at the turn of the century.
Larry and I were talking before the race started, and he has traveled far and wide gathering information for his publication. He's almost ready to go to the publisher. But he and I were talking that years ago, back in the 20s, that a bicycle racer could make more money than a baseball player. They were riding, that we were talking about the Tri-State Circuit. They were at White City, up near Worcester, on a Friday night, down to Rhode Island, down to Providence, to the board track down there on Saturday, and over to Butler's track, where the dog track used to be, in Revere on Sunday. They made $4,000 a week.
Yeah, that was when Ty Cobb was making $4,500 a year. Cale Wenzel goes through. Everybody kind of drawing a bead on it. Big Josh Burgle up there, 306. Josh Burgle, a good friend of mine. He's a landscape architect. And you'll love this, Dick Ring. You know what Josh Burgle does a lot of as a landscape architect? His firm gets hired to build some of these beautiful bicycle paths and bridges. And, you know, even though we think it's, we don't think it's important, the bike path builders, these engineers, you think that they trivialize it. They love it. It's like the craft beer of road engineering. Those guys are really into the small bicycle infrastructure like we're going to see here at the Twin Cities Rail Trail in a year and a half. And Josh is one of those guys that designs bridges and landscapes for bicycles.
You know, and the funny part of it is the Nashua Trail in the fall is a gorgeous place to go out and for a foliage run. Really enjoy the bike and look around and if the racing miles have been putting in with your nose down on the front wheel, and all of a sudden you're looking up and you're saying, this is absolutely gorgeous, all along the Nashua River. And by the way, they cleaned that up. Nashua River, they spent a couple of years.
Yeah, it took a few years.
Yeah, took a few years, but it's nice. Look at this. No one has been successfully going up the road on a breakaway out of this field. Category 3-4 really keeping a handle on who's trying to make a breakaway.
Yeah, you know, this is, I always say that when it goes really slow is when it can get dangerous. Because all of a sudden these guys that have been riding the course on one line, suddenly they're going through a lot wider and a lot slower. And these guys right now, this is like synchronized cycling has broken out, but one rider said enough of this, I'm going to take an attack up the right side. Special thanks again to FATV for their brilliant coverage.
We had the pleasure of being over there. Sam was the host for a sports show and invited Laura Summers over, myself, the gentleman that owns the bar up on the Upper Common, and Don, our promoter, Don M. Jimmy, and we had a wonderful time. I couldn't believe, here's this television station on the old back straightaway of the Longsjo course, and I was very impressed with the equipment that they had, and it's an old factory building, and it just went on forever, room after room, studio after studio, and really class people working that TV station.
Want to thank Rollstone Bank and Trust. Solid banking, rock solid banking since 1846. Started as Fitchburg Savings Bank. Then the Rollstone came flying off the mountain one day and they were like, wow. Kids, getting ready. Kids race coming up next. We're going to get our commissar of kids racing ready.
You know, without good sponsors, you don't have yourself an excellent race like this Longsjo Classic weekend. Rollstone Bank and Trust. Really count on them every year. And of course, your Pittsburgh television station, they have been with this race, and as we mentioned, doing interviews with riders. And of course, our Massachusetts Sports Marketing Office, they have been a driving force trying to keep kids into sports. Fidelity Bank, and all the officials appreciate the efforts from Subway. And Rich, you enjoyed a lot of meals from Subway since you've been here, and they're the ones that put up the box lunches.
Well, you know, Dick Ring, if you are an athlete and you are out on the interstate highway system, one of the biggest problems, you see this in a lot of guys that work sales and marketing and traveling all the time, the food on the highways is really bad food. You look at all the fried food, it's all really horrible food, but if you're an athlete, how do you survive? You know what you do? You go to Subway. Subway has some of the most low-fat, really high-quality food, and you'll notice a lot of the athletes, when they're traveling, they're hitting Subways. That's their fast food fix. 9 laps to go for that fast rider.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you got one courageous rider, but everybody was watching him, and that's Jeff Krawenski out of the Capital Bicycle Club. That's down
back for the 2017 Longsjo Classic. There's still plenty of time to get down here. The kids races are going to be starting up here pretty soon, so it's going to be a great time. I am here with the Legacy Director, Jason Longsjo. How are you today?
Good, doing great.
So this is a fantastic race this year. This is the second year with the finish line up higher. How is that working for you guys?
Oh, it's been great. You know, we've been able to expand a lot of things, you know, more seating at the boulder. We've got drone coverage this year.
That's incredible. The drone's cool.
Yeah, we're streaming that live on YouTube, so
that's awesome.
Going well.
So how many years have you been doing this race yourself?
So being involved with the race, this is my 5th year. We kind of had a 5-year plan to, you know, do as much as we could to bring the race back to what it once was, and with the return to the national calendar and just the growth of the race that we've pulled off, I think we're back there.
It's always so much fun to come to the races like this. So having it be big and spectacular is fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. With the food trucks, I know they're selling tickets for the duck races. They have a big 2-story duck down the street there.
And the Jumbotron.
Yeah, Jumbotron's been awesome. All the coverage that we have on there. I mean, people are just sitting in the bleachers in the shade, hanging out watching that. So it's been great.
Makes everybody comfortable.
Yeah.
So Art was your uncle, right?
Correct.
So do you have any memories of him, or?
So it was before my time.
Before your time.
I had a lot of stories from my dad, just of them growing up and, different things that Art would go on 100-mile training rides up into New Hampshire. It's just insane to think riding 100 miles on a bike. It's nuts.
And the racers are even riding around the Longsjo Memorial up in the Commons, so that's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Brings everything really tight together.
It does.
Well, I know you've got a million places you need to be and back up on running that drone, right?
Yep, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Not a problem.
And stay tuned for more coverage from FATV right here at the 2017 Longsjo Classic.
The field would react. And yeah, they did to a point, and they just kind of let him go. But he has himself a pretty sizable lead, but he has worked for every second he has put on that field. Let's hope that he can stay out there and win himself this great preem. He's going to need the protein.
Kids, getting ready for the kids race.
Very, very fast back straightaway. Always has been on this course. You want to see a crowd of people. In 1980, when Eric Heiden won 5 gold medals in Lake Placid in speed skating, and then he was a champion bicycle racer also, and he and his sister Beth came to this town. This course, the front home straightaway was being ripped up, and the course was a little different configuration, and they were finishing on the back straightaway, and people were sitting on the tops of the buildings. You talk about loading the rafters at a hockey game. This place was jam-packed, 10 deep. And here's your leader. He's been out here for 2 laps. The field, but he won the preem. Beautiful. Had to go. Jeff is going to be going home a happy camper.
That's Josh Burgle. Just missed out on that.
Josh Burgle, yeah, Minuteman Road Club. They also sponsor cyclocross events. I think that Jeff won't mind going back in with the field and get a little bit of a break, possibly rest himself up for the final stanza in this Category 3-4 event. We'd like to thank the YMCA. The YMCAs in all different towns keep kids active, keep them off the streets, keep them active in programs, and they have a lot of great success stories from all the youngsters they have helped. The Boulder Cafe, we were talking about the TV show that FATV put on, and Sam was the host of that show, and she is great at that job. And the owners of the Boulder Cafe came on the show, and very interesting what has taken place and how the town has helped them out. They have been with this race so long. And of course, we all admire Rick Roberti and his auto sales and the beautiful pace vehicles he supplies for this event. Blue Heron, Northeast Promotions and Apparel. They have been a sponsor here for quite a while. Greatly appreciated, along with Tompton, Bike Town, riders taking a little look behind when they do go off the front. They still haven't caught him yet. They're just letting him dangle. Bobby Bailey's team has gone to the front. We'd like to thank Mass Bike. Now, Richard Fries has been very involved in Mass Bike over the years. And later on, we'll let him give you a little story on what Mass Bike does for the riders in Massachusetts. Wachusett Brewing Company, great organization. They wanted to get involved in this great New England event. Diamondback Bikes, great bikes for a bike shop, a bread and butter line, and of course, Aetna Insurance Company. Hope you enjoyed the ride out here today, young man. Matt Maskowitz. Matt Maskowitz. Team E-Race. That's got to be out of Bristol, Connecticut. 47-year-old gentleman enjoying the sport of cycling. Riders have been on the course for 35 minutes with 6 laps to go. They have it slated for a 45-minute race. They're going to hit that just about on the pin. Pace vehicle coming up. Riders will be looking at 5. We're getting down into the final laps of this race. Gentlemen, 5 laps to go. 5 to go. Nobody's been able to break away. They did for a while, winning a couple of preems here and there. But now we're stacked up for the finish of the bike race.
Well, look where Sam Noel is, second wheel. Look at this, the team's starting to get a little organized.
You know, when Alan Cote was talking about Sam Noel being able to ride with Bobby Bailey and all the team members of that great cycling team, he's been well groomed. 1K to go. Sports racing team, Sam Noel. Very unique name. 1K to go. Cycling team. Light baby blue jerseys. Tempo is picking up, going down on that back straightaway. Road guards doing a beautiful job out there, making sure people are crossing safely.
Well, we're up here right now. You know, we're talking about all the great support that we're getting from our friends at Massachusetts Sports Marketing Office. My friend Shanna's up here, and they are out here checking this out, looking at what this does locally as we try to revitalize these gateway cities, as we're talking about complete streets programs, bike paths, making livable, walkable communities. You've got a big college here, and we want to turn this into a great, cool, happening city here in Fitchburg. Dick Ring, of course, was here in 1960 when they started it. Dick, you would have 25,000 people out on this bike race day, and it was just a whole different time. Meanwhile, 4 laps to go in the bike race, but we still have the best bike riders coming out, the big hallmark. Gentlemen, you are at 4 to go.
4 laps to go, gentlemen. 4 laps remaining. A little bit of a skirmish. A couple of guys are getting antsy off the front. What we found in Chelmsford for the Chelmsford Bikeway, and they are still in the process of building that. That's going to go quite a ways. It's going to be doggone near a 50-mile bike path. Bruce Freeman Trail. Bruce Freeman was a dynamite politician that listened to his constituents and really, really serviced them well. And in his honor, they have been building this Bruce Freeman Trail. And the time and effort and work and organization it takes to build a bike trail is second to none. What we found that everybody is a lot healthier in the town of Chelmsford because of the youth, and everyone gets to use the bike path. Much happier community. Larry Finnison right down on the rail here, getting an idea about the bike race, and he has spent 4 years researching a book that is just about ready to go to the publisher. And he has already written 1 book, and that was a great success. But this one is going to bring you almost up to date here, and he has interviewed riders, families of riders. He just came out of Long Island, spending some time with racers and their families that raced back in the 1920s. Came out of there with a great deal of information for his book. Very dedicated gentleman.
Gentlemen, you're looking at 3 to go. 3 laps to go. Boy, look at that Butcher Box team. That Monster Media Butcher Box team, they are looking solid in there. They had a good finish yesterday. Looking to repeat.
Rich, this is going to be something. Now, you and I have watched this whole race evolve, and nobody's been able to get away. And now we're going to see what the team tactics are going to be for setting up a sprint train for their designated riders. I'll tell you one thing, that Noel is going to be one of the riders that they're going to be working for. He has the capability of placing well in this event. Sam Noel, bib number 346, riding for 1K to go racing team. We're getting down into the nitty-gritty of this event. You know, you mentioned bike paths. When you have a big gang of kids and you're bringing them out and teaching them how to ride a bicycle, you couldn't ask for a safer venue than on a bike path, so they don't get themselves wiped out by a semi at the side of the road.
Yeah, you know, that's really become, you know, look at what we had recently. Chris Froome, Tour de France champion, had his bike crushed by a road rage incident. Now, if you're Chris Froome and you're getting road rage, we got problems. Here we are right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it is flaring out. Category 3-4 race. Some of these guys in their second race of the day. When it's wide like this, Dick, it can be dangerous.
You know, if Rich, you and I were talking the other night, last night, about the slower they go at the end of a bike race, this is where it gets dangerous.
If all of a sudden guys start pushing into gaps.
If the tempo was high, they'd be gasping for air, trying to hang onto a wheel, and they'd be paying attention to what's going on. Right now, everybody's kind of relaxing. We're hoping things are going to pick up heading down that back straightaway.
I don't know. There are some fast kids coming into this venue, getting ready for the kids race. They've all topped off. I think they've all eaten like Lucky Charms and Captain Crunch, and they're like spinning like tops, ready to go. Kids race coming up next.
Ready to go. All right, Rich, let's keep an eye on them going down that back straightaway.
Yeah, this is where it gets a little scary, and it's really, it's sort of the race before the race as we see them go snaking down into here. The problem in this turn that we're watching them go into, Dick Ring, is that you're going in and all of a sudden the front slows down and you've got all these guys pouring into there and the back smashes into the front. So it really compresses here. Right here is one of the most dangerous places in this race because all of a sudden you're trying to go through 5 and 6 wide.
Now they're up through a very, very short section and grabbing another left-hand turn, and they're on to the main straightaway.
That turn always reminds me, Dick Ring, of turn 1 at Somerville, which you've raced at. You go from 4 or 5 wide lanes into 2 tight lanes.
Of course, I remember Somerville when we rode it on a track bike. You're talking 150 riders slamming into that turn 1 on track bikes. Brother, that's fixed gear, no brakes.
That's a great time. Taught you how to ride a bike. We go to 1 to go for this big herd of riders. All right, Fitchburg, let's see what you can give them. Come on, you kids. Make a little noise for the amateur category 3-4 race. 1 lap to go.
I'm trying to keep an eye on Sam Noel, and he's up in the front portion of the race, riding for 1 to go racing team. That is Bobby Bailey's organization.
Oh boy, that's Matty Schaefer. Winner last night, going off the front like he did. Schaefer has got a little bit of a gap. Schaefer's opened up, but he's on the downhill. Not a good place to go, Dick Ring.
Boy, I'll tell you, we're going to see what he's got for metal when he makes the corner and comes up this home straightaway. He put on a wonderful, wonderful performance last night. Can he do it again?
Yeah, we're going to see right now. He's got to snare this turn. And don't forget, it is a long headwind uphill finish. Nothing like he saw last night, but he did work to string it out. Now he's been brought back. Looks over, oh, little east and west there. Tap of the brakes, and now we go through. Most dangerous turn. Oh, Nelly, we got going wide in there. Taking chances, coming into the final turn before they come on to the home stretch. And Dick Ring's going to have the call.
What's Schaefer got for help out there in the field?
Nothing.
So he's a lone wolf. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the riders, they're still all bunched up. Nobody has been able to eke out any kind of a gap, and the tempo is getting high. They're down near Town Hall. They're rounding the corner. Bring them on in, Rich.
And here we are. They're out of the saddle. Hard to time it. Patience is everything. To the line it goes. No sign of Schaefer. I see Race CF. Mark Hewitt is in there. Touch him there. 317 grabs it for Race CF.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Gooddale.
Man, Mark Hewitt was coming up, but he got boxed in. A lot of traffic in there. No sign of Schaefer, who took his efforts a little too soon. These guys are going to grab our winner and bring him right over here.
Andrew Gooddale riding for CF, Race CF, cystic fibrosis. And of course, we're looking at Andrew. He is your winner. In second spot, right on the mark, is Mark Hewitt, riding for Northampton Cycling Club. And also another rider that was right up in the front was Aaron Black, riding for the Central Wheel. That's out of West Hartford, Connecticut.